Insight is a deeper appreciation of something or someone. I'm extremely humbled and appreciative that our next guest said yes to insight. Who are you and where are you from?
My name is Stew and I go under the name of Stew Sensei on social media, and I'm from England but I currently live in Japan.
What is your favorite day of the week?
To be honest, I don't have a favourite day of the week. Each day of the week is the same for me. I kind of just am happy to wake up, to be with my family and to be able to do my job. I just enjoy that interaction with people.
If I gave you $1 million, what would you do with the money?
That's such a difficult question to answer because I don't want to be selfish in any type of way. But I think everyone who gets that opportunity is always going to say something about their current situation. Me the same. I take some of it and try and help my family. I want their future to be secure. That's super important to me. But my main passion is to make English free for everyone. Maybe that is really against the grain of what many teachers would like to say or would like to show as the image of learning English. But I think English is a necessity. I don't believe it's something you need to pay for, and I think that it's just like food or water. Communication is super important, and as English has now become the forefront of language these days throughout the world, I think it is more a responsibility for us as people who can speak English to allow others to be able to speak it as well.
What is the greatest misconception about you?
The greatest misconception is that maybe that I'm something that I'm not. I'm not the teacher that maybe some people envisage when they think of a teacher. I'm just a guy, honestly. And I'm learning along the way. Obviously I do teaching, but I don't think of myself as like a professor or something like that. I'm just some guy who's managed to get into this job and want to spread it out to everyone.
Why did you become a teacher?
To be completely honest, it's just through circumstance. Although I was kind of doing teaching in the past, I became an English teacher because I moved to Japan and I needed a job, but I fell in love with it as soon as I did it.
What's the best thing you like about teaching? And is there anything that you dislike?
It's obviously the response from the students as soon as they click, as soon as something hits, you know. That is by far the most incredible thing to me every time I experience it. To get some kind of feedback from people where they appreciate what they get is like better than any form of money or anything like that, you know. It is just a world above itself, honestly. I dislike that people think of English as a subject. Whilst in essence it's a subject, I don't feel it is. I think it's just like something that evolves so much, and that it's not a subject to me. It's something you can 100%, you know, you can pass it and you can learn everything about it, but I don't think you can with English because it changes, and I think it's difficult for people to see that.
Teacher Stewart, please help me. How can I improve my speaking?
It's doing. It's obviously doing. There's only one way to improve anything. It's to do the thing that you want to improve. And speaking comes along with that as well. And if you don't try to speak, there's a big step, obviously. But if you don't try to speak, you will never be able to improve, for sure. Even if there's no one around you to speak with, there's always opportunities. The internet, even with yourself, it doesn't really matter. Honestly, you just have to take that step to do it. If you don't speak at all, you continue speaking in your own language, you will not improve, and that is a fact for sure. So just keep doing and you will get better.
I need to be better in grammar. How can I improve my grammar?
There's obviously textbooks and then doing. And then there's videos and then doing. So you watch or you consume in a way that works best for you. That's the most important thing. Not everyone likes reading. Not everyone likes listening. But you consume the way that you can learn the best. And then you do. The doing afterwards is the most important to be able to improve anything. And that goes the same with grammar. And for me personally, a textbook is the way to go forward. You can buy a textbook. You don't need a teacher for that. It is the simplest form of practicing. And sometimes even doing that, people just think writing is enough, but it isn't. You have to speak as well. There's an element of listening as well for everyone, because you're going to have those in a daily conversation.
How about vocabulary?
Vocab is just rinse and repeat. Literally is just, if there's a word you don't know, you listen to it and then you repeat again. And I would suggest an app called Anki. It's a great app. Basically, you put the words in that you don't know, and then it recalls it after a day. If you remember it straight away, it then recall it in 2 days. If you don't remember it, it will recall again the next day. And then after the 2 days, if you remember again, it will recall in a week, and then after a month, and then after a year. So like it's staggered. So you don't get it every day, but you get it enough to have a warrant for that short-term and long-term memory to act together. So the first is short-term memory, like a day, 2 days, but then it stops coming up and you don't see it, and then suddenly a month later it comes up, and that's like your long-term memory going into action. And that's where learning really develops, is within your long-term memory.
How can social media help me improve my English?
Social media, that's the easiest one. If you're watching this right now, you're already doing it. Just consuming as many teachers as possible. You don't have to consume just one teacher. That is super important. That one teacher that you consume only might not be the way you like to learn. There might be someone better out there for you. So even myself, not everyone's going to like me, not everyone's going to like yourself, Will, and not everyone's going to like each individual teacher out there, but there's many types. And I think having the variety, and some of these phrases and words are going to come up again and again in different situations, that'll help your long-term memory. So just absorbing as much as you can on the different platforms in different ways. Like TikTok is different to Instagram, is different to YouTube. So I suggest to go to as many different platforms as possible.
Do you have any favorite words in English? If so, what are they?
Favorite English words? That's a great question. I mean, if you're on about the words like I use every day, definitely lush is one of them for me. Like it's just my version of great or excellent. Everyone has one. And ciao is another one. It's an Italian word, but it's being absorbed into the English language more and more. I use that quite a lot. English is kind of interesting because it just absorbs words from different places all the time, so there's many of those, and you'll see some of those in like my videos quite frequently. And like there's the odd phrase or word, a lot of slang. I use a lot of slang for sure. Knackered instead of tired, or chuffed instead of proud. These small things, these Britishisms, if you want to call them that. But yeah, those are my kind of go-to words that I would use.
What does the word insight mean to you?
Insight, that kind of word to me immediately, without looking at a dictionary or looking at any research, just is like a deep dive. It's like you're delving into more detail about something is an insight. And I think we do that every day when we're learning English, or if we're practicing something. We are deep diving, we are getting some more insight into everything we do, whether it's your job, whether it's learning English, whether it's your conversations with your partner or your family. You're gaining more insight about that person or that thing or that place, etc.
Okay, Teacher Stuart, there's a theme that I've been doing this year, having a clear vision. What does that mean to you with respect to learning English?
Having a clear vision surrounding English, that's kind of easy really. Just having your own goals, that they're set. This is what you want to do this month. But the most important thing is you may have a clear vision about what you want to do in English, but maybe it's way more long term than you realize. So say you want to become fluent in English, that doesn't happen over a 2-week period. We need to think more, we need to be more patient basically. It comes over maybe a 3, a 5, a 10-year process, more so than a 1-2 week, 3-month basis that some courses may be selling you. So I would suggest to anyone that wants to create a clear vision for the future for themselves in English is just to set yourself goals on a short, a medium and a long-term basis, so you have more variety. And you have more realistic goals. So for example, Your long-term goal is to become fluent in English. That's an easy one. Your medium-term goal is in a year's time I will be able to have a good conversation with a native speaker. And then the short-term goal is I'm going to learn these 20 phrases this month or this week, for example. So we should be more realistic with the way that we set up our goals for English, and it shouldn't just be one, it should be many, and it will create a clearer vision for ourselves for our targets within English.
How would you describe Teacher Will?
How would I describe you? I would say you are enigmatic. At the start, I had no idea what to do. Like, I was really unsure, and then luckily you invited me for a live, one of my first ones, and that really showed me a lot of insight, showed me a lot more information about what I needed to do to become as good as I can, to become the best I can as an English teacher, and that really helped me out a lot. So that personality you have, that style, showed me that having the confidence to say what you think, having the confidence to be yourself is very important as an English teacher. It shows individuality. It shows that you are being you, and you become more personable that way. And I wouldn't have learnt that without your help, and watching the way you help many people, not just learners but teachers as well, is absolutely incredible. It's really inspiring, and I hope that I can do something along the same way as yourself, but maybe it can't be as good. I don't know. I don't think so.
All right, Teacher Stewart, thank you very much for participating. I greatly appreciate it. Any final words of wisdom or encouragement with respect to life and or English, the floor is yours.
Any type of learning is better than no learning. You know, regardless what any teacher says, regardless if people say that textbooks are bad, YouTube is bad, social media is bad, whatever people say, it doesn't matter. As long as you try something, it's always better than nothing. There's always going to be people that will do better in every way of life, and the best thing you can do is to be better than yourself yesterday. And if you can do that, you will always improve and you always get better. And some days, some weeks will be tough for sure, but just battle through that. Battle through that like you would do with anything. Like when you were in school, you battled through the first year where you didn't know anything, and then in your 6th year you knew a lot. So it's kind of that kind of circumstance with English, and you keep pushing through and you'll get so much better. But please, don't be worried about every mistake you make. Please just do mistakes, and not on purpose, but just do as best as you can each day, and even if you make a mistake, you will get better. So don't worry about each individual mistake. Just do, then it will improve your fluency, it'll improve your vocabulary, it'll improve every area of your English, and you'll be so happy at the end after you see like 6 months change. So yeah, to do is the most important thing, I think. Thank you guys so much for tuning into this. Thank you so much for Will for organising this experience. I'm so lucky to be a part of it. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you next time. Ciao.